I think we're back. We're back. Thank you, everybody. Make sure I see. Is 18 now? Oh, some of you are not in the country. Okay. Use Ife time. All right. We're good. So we're using Ife time, Abby. Who are helping us monitor. I hope it's good. All right. Thank you. If we have any issues with it going forward, we'll probably just, record from here. But I think thank you for your patience and for your understanding. Now let's just go back to on TikTok website, but couldn't comment because I don't know what's happening. But please, can you confer? So let's start from page 28. You can also watch on Facebook, by the way, just in case this is not giving you what you want. But I think it's working. Into the plan or fathom the wide and unprecedented enthusiasm of the parents and the potential numbers of children. Awolowo and his political innovators were not the only ones eager to have children of school age go to school if fees were remitted. When the scheme was being planned, in the early years of his administration, the Government Department of Statistics, relying on the 1953 census figures, had estimated that 175,000 children would register in the first year of the scheme for primary 1. They were wrong. By the time nearly 400,000 children showed up for enrollment. This shook the scheme's logistics to their very foundation. The problems were legion. The government appealed to retired teachers to return to the classrooms to save the day. The following year, the government decided to establish new grade 3 teacher training colleges all over the region to redress this shortage in teacher manpower. Between the period 1955 to 1959, he saw to it that 11,000 teachers were trained in the new teachers' colleges. Service conditions and salaries of teachers were dramatically improved by his administration. He had been very ambitious in telling the voters that his government would build schools near each community in the region such that no child would need to walk more than 3 kilometers to school. Awolowo would not renege on any electoral promise he had made, and so he embarked on massive school building projects that energized the populace and propelled the economy in a multiplier syndrome unheard of before then. In achieving the aims of education, the recipients should not unduly suffer by having to attend school too far from home, he asserted. Therefore, schools should be sited in locations that would be easily and almost equally accessible to all children. And his word was his bond. Awolowo, who already establishing, please let's power tap on TikTok, thank you. Awolowo, who already established a sunny reputation as the man with a plan, came up with answers and antidotes to these exigencies. He calculated that by 1959, the first batch of his primary school finalists would be ready for further education in the secondary schools. And he had to be ready, and the planning had to start in earnest. He knew that by the end of his second term in office in 1961, which he had programmed himself to round off by 1959, to begin his preparations for the federal elections, there would be at least 1 million of his universal primary education. He also knew that they could not and did not all necessarily have to be absorbed in the limited number of secondary grammar schools which were in existence. Established 363 brand new schools of this type and dotted them all over the region. He was not done. There were only 25 grammar schools, both government and private, in the entire region, including Lagos in 1952. Awolowo set about building new secondary schools to make up for the shortfall throughout the region. He saw to it that this number was expanded to 139 before his primary school finalists were ready in 1959. So he went from 25 to 139. It must be said that this explosion in the number of secondary economy with this welfare package for his economically bubbling region. The statistics show that the total number of secondary school pupils rose from 6,775 in 1952. Just be coming now. You can't type this kind of thing now. Abba. The statistics showed that the total number of secondary school pupils rose from 6,775 in 1952 to a staggering 841,300, those in the northern and eastern regions combined. That represented the core of his revolution in education. So they went from 6,775, that's less than 7,000 kids in 1952, to the region to pay taxes for the first time in the history of the West. This caused some pockets of discontent. A capitation tax levy of 10 shillings and 6 pence was imposed on all males in the fiscal year 1954. That's 20-fold from 6 pence previous. In other words, before Awo, people were paying 6 pence. Awo came and told them to pay 10 shillings and 6 pence. So that's 20 times what they were paying before. Tax was also imposed on entertainment, cinema houses, lottery, salt, and petrol to beef up the revenue base. So they taxed entertainment, cinema houses, lottery, salt, and petrol to beef up the revenue base. Taxation, of course, meant that some citizens became disenchanted with the government, but the gains outweighed the risk of the attendant political fallout. I think I should pause there. You know what I think? I think we should just change the title for a bit and come back to this. Let's just stay on this when we come on Monday. I think we should stay on Awo and what it is in the West when we come on Monday. I know I'm shifting away from state creation, but we're going to come to it. Excuse me. Don't worry, Awo is everywhere. It's in that one too. I think we're good on YouTube, Abby. Well, let's read a little more since we waited that long. As mentioned before, this tax regime to fund the UPE and free health was attacked by the opposition, and it caused the government to lose the 1954 federal elections in the Western region, with the NCNC clinching 3 seats more than the ruling AG, a margin which could have led to the downfall of the government of the day had it been a regional election. Was this tax regime part of the original plan to instruct the citizens that free education for their wards did not mean that no one would have to pay the cost directly or indirectly, or a fallout of inadequate resources at government disposal at the point of execution? Both. Professor Akima Bogunje has pointed out that free education did not imply that no one would have to pay for it, but free access to education whether their parents could afford it or not. According to him, all taxpayers, whether rich or poor, whether they had children of school going age or not, to build a literate society, to fund free education, detractors in the House who wanted him to cancel his utopian idea that he would not make a U-turn. Quote, "We will press forward in the execution of the laudable project, which the House has already approved," he said in the fiery debate on the new taxes in the assembly. We believe that God, who sees our hearts and knows that we are doing all these things to better the lot of our people, is on our side. We are confident that our beloved and trusting I'll take that again. We believe that God, who sees our hearts and knows that we are doing all these things to better the lot of our people, is on our side. We are confident that our beloved and trusting masses, once they begin to enjoy the fruit of the taxes now being levied, will in future years remember us with gratitude and adoration. How true. It was a prophetic speech. Awolowo marched on. He knew that the thirst for education could not be totally satisfied unless there was expansion of tertiary institutions to cope with the demand of the ever-increasing number of schools. Technology was the key to the future. Some of these post-secondary school students would go on to tertiary institutions, and his government opened 5 technical colleges all over the region, in addition to the expansion of the Sapele Trade Center. There was also need to plan for those who would want to go to the university. The University of Ibadan, federal-owned, would not be able to accommodate them. The federal government-sponsored Ashby report in 1948 had confirmed his fears. He himself, that's Awo, had had the privilege of studying as an external student of the University of London only by the grace of Providence. So he moved to set up the necessary wherewithal for the establishment of the first wholly indigenous university in Nigeria of the Federation. It is by no means being suggested that he performed his educational revolution by all his solo effort. I'll take that again. It is by no means, I'm getting tired, that's why it is by no means being suggested that he performed this educational revolution all by his solo effort. Kudos must and were duly given by him to the entire members of his cabinet, his collaborators in government, especially his education minister, the erudite Professor S.O. Awokoya, and the many dedicated expatriate and Nigerian civil servants who worked tirelessly to see that the scheme was successfully launched and sustained once the leader showed them the way. But Awolowo, the primus inter pares, had to take credit as the head of government, the moving force and financial wizard who guided the entire operation. In the final analysis, it was none other than Awolowo administration that got the crucial job done. He had to switch portfolios from local government administration to finance in 1954 in order to tackle head-on the financial challenges posed by these unprecedented budgetary allocations to education, which took a hefty slice of 32% of the region's resources. This head of government must have had something to allocate 1/3 of his entire annual budget to one. 50 years after this education revolution, it is an irony that the 2004 education in the world, as countries have spent least on education vis-a-vis its GNP, with Nigeria at only 0.7%. Awolowo's government inherited a revenue base of £5.3 million as total revenue from the British colonial administration in 1952. Pounds per annum 8 years later when he vacated office as Premier. His government also ensured that gifted students in strategic fields like engineering, technology, medicine, accountancy, and even in some cases the liberal arts and social sciences were awarded government scholarships to study abroad during his tenure. Chief MK Abiola was a beneficiary of one of those scholarships. Awo started with 200 overseas scholarships in 1955, and within 4 years, he had seen to it that this number was expanded to 2,000. His government scholarships had no strings attached to them. He did not approve of student loans because he felt education ought to be a birthright. The beneficiaries of such loans, he said, enter into full productive life with indebtedness, which affects their morale and consequently their efficiency when compared with their contemporaries who do not have such ill luck. As will be seen in his attempt to reenact this philosophy in 1979 for the presidential election campaign, Chief Awolowo had an enduring commitment to free education at all levels. His commitment must have been a product of his own precarious struggles to get educated, as we saw in the last chapter. It was a personal social contract he sought to have with the electorate whilst running for office. He passionately believed that an educated citizenry was much better than an illiterate one. He felt that democracy would thrive better if the bulk of the citizens who were the electors were literate. To build a better society, he reasoned, you had to educate the citizens. An educated citizenry would make good choices in deciding among rival candidates at elections. A technologically advanced people could grow crops in the desert or land a man in the moon. That was the simple philosophy behind his lifelong crusade for free and universal education. His political opponents in 1954 in the West poured scorn on his advocacy of free and universal education as they did again in 1979 when he ran for president. They argued that nothing good could come out of any scheme that was free or without a charge. They said it was a utopian policy. They accused Awolowo of using the issue of free education to catch votes, and they dismissed his policy on education as election gimmick. Awolowo was quite adept at answering his critics. At a 1978 press conference witnessed by this author, he recalled that as far back as September 1943, when the Secretary of State of the Colonies, Colonel Oliver Stanley, I'm going to end with this part, and I'll go to the other part, but I think it's important to read this part. This thing that Awo did in 55, he actually planned, he wanted the government to do it in 51. Even British government could not do it. Which is why, when we come on Monday, I'm going to read some documents from Colonial Office, what they said about Awo. Let me read it. Let me just quickly read this one. At a 1978 press conference witnessed by this author, when the Secretary of State for the Colonies, Colonel Oliver Stanley, visited Nigeria, he, as Secretary of the Nigerian Youth Movement, had given him a memorandum co-signed by Mr. Ernest Ekoli, the NYM chairman, demanding three things. Number one, the government ought to find the money for free education. When was this? 1943. You know, when I said to us some days ago that some of the dreams that people have, you have to have the willingness to understand that some of your dreams will be long-term dreams. 1943 is talking to the Secretary of State for the Colonies. And he said, number one, that the government ought to find the money for free education. Number two, that the government should create 200 scholarships, annual scholarships for the brightest students in Nigeria to study abroad in all branches of studies, agriculture, industry, commerce, science, and arts. Number three, that the government should formulate and carry out plans that within 5 years, free medical facilities will be made available to all men and women throughout the country. Let me tell you something. When he became premier in 54, these things he started doing in 55. It took 12 years. This is why I don't support all these movements. It's not because the things they want are bad. It's because they don't have any plan that goes beyond tomorrow. They must get it now. If you've built anything in life, you know it doesn't happen like that. And people that tell you that it must happen now, after a while, Oma me. You have to be willing to defer gratification and see things through, and it might take a while. It might take a while. But it's not like your dreams are not valid. It's just that it's not everything that will happen tomorrow. Some things will happen tomorrow, some things will happen next month, next year, 5 years, 10 years. Any organization, if you know how many people have come to come and join, I can't join any of them. Number one, they are not stable. Today they are this, tomorrow they are that. There is no clear goal. Number two, whatever they have at that particular point must happen then. So, but they'll not change it to another gym. They not say that one too must happen then. I'm like, okay. So the point is that when Awo was still in NYM, this was before he went to the UK. He went to UK in 44. In 1943, speaking for the NYM as the secretary of the organization, he asked for three things. Number one, that the government should find money to fund free education. Number two, that there should be 200 annual scholarships for young people in different fields of study. Number three, that the government should formulate and carry out plans that within 5 years there'll be free medical services to people in Nigeria. He argued that his long advocacy of free and compulsory education predated his participation in partisan politics in 1951, and that it was untrue to associate it with political gimmickry. Quote, "The truth is that at all times, whether in government or outside it, I have been an implacable proponent of free education." End quote. Excuse me. He soon became the most fervent proponent and the chief advocate of free education in Nigeria, and a lone ranger in this cause among his peers for a long time, because he passionately believed that education is the key to progress and the only cornerstone. We're going to talk more about this on Monday. I'll finish some things on education, then we'll go to health. Let's stay on Papa for a bit before we go to the state creation or what Zeke did. Okay? I was trying to get to this book earlier, but I want to finish that stuff on Zeke. But I think we can stay on this. It will inspire us to build and to also remember what when they say our heroes past, we have heroes past. And our heroes have done some things that we can build on. All right. It's Friday, but it's almost 8 o'clock. So I'm going to bring people up now, but it's going to be very, very quick because of time. But let me first thank everybody, especially those who stuck around on TikTok when we had the issue on YouTube, and those who also went and came back on YouTube. Thank you very much. I hope you had a great time, but thank you for your support. We're 199.2k likes, which is fantastic. I want to thank you for that as well. All right, this thing is not loud enough. I'm wondering why, but I hope you got the gist. So thank you very much for your support, and thank you for being here as well. Before we go, let's take some responses. It's going to be very quick, sharp. But I promise on Monday we're going to spend some time on this. You know what? Over the weekend, I'm going to try and I'm going to write a new series that will be on AWO. I think that will really help our conversation. And when we are done, we'll now do AWO and Zeke. When we are done, we'll now do the state creation stuff, right? And maybe we'll revisit the war at some point. But let's stay on AWO for a bit. There's a lot. If not, so I thought if it was okay, just sorry once, and so we don't have too many. I want to respond to what that person said. I'm sounding like this because I'm actually tired. But it's been a fantastic session. I enjoyed every bit of it, including the lads we had. Please mute. As soon as you get up, please mute. Tolu Ayo, Perism, Sell by Ayola. Please mute. Thank you very much for understanding. Please mute. Tolu. Ayola book some. Okay, I don't know. All right, Perism, please go on, sir.
Good evening. Well done again. Well done. Mo kiyen ku ohun lataro.
Sure.
In fact, we really miss a gem. Sincerely. Now you expose us to it. And I remember probably 2 or 3 days ago in one of your statements, and this is just what I want to say today to all Yorubas listening to me. Any generation come back day, so now I be plan it in one. And when today, I will plan it in one. It's tantamount to failure. So it is necessary we build on what the previous generation has built, that we should build on it. And that is exactly what we need to do as a Yoruba race. And it's just unfortunate. Politics. Unfortunately, those people use those things to deceive us. I want they follow principle. The man tí Batu ṣe Onichibola Igi wọ́n pa ní àìtọ́jọ́ yẹn. That's the man which will have brought up the idea, as in initiate the idea of how but wọ́n pa àwọn other politicians yòókù irọ́ ni irọ́ lákàn wọ́n tàn wá jẹ ni. So I'm seeing this your program as you bringing back the life of Awo, and I'm seriously gaining one or two things from it. And ó dẹ̀ wù mí náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé kí n kàn wọ́pọ̀ bí Kọ́lá Adébá kan fi mí jẹ gọ́vùnà kí n dẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní implement gbogbo nǹkan tó ṣe. It's laudable. Ẹ wo nǹkan tán, in fact ẹ bá rí àwọn nǹkan tẹ́ àwọn non-Yorùbá people gan kọ nípa ẹ̀ you will think that no, this man is a gem, this man is a gem. Then nínú àwọn nǹkan tẹ́ kà fún ẹ you said most is an opposition NCNC ṣé Nnamdi Kweshi wà ní Southwest then because you say most of the opposition they were going against all his program.
No, it's about the party now, not the personality. So Azikiwe left in 52, 53, I think, 52, 53, 52. Then became leader of business governments in 53 in the East. But at this time, although he was not there, the NCNC folks who were in the house were still there, and they were the opposition party. And so it's not so much, could Azikiwe be working through them? Of course, because they were part of the party, but he didn't have to be there personally. The party was diametrically opposed to what the action group was doing. Therefore, they would, do what they have to do. So could it be that Azikiwe alone saw it? Oh, possible. Because a lot of them were actually on the side. So folks, like I said the other day, if you look at the house, the composition of the house back then, there were 27 seats in the Midwest in the Benin Delta provinces, and only 6 of them were CNC. So, party or possible, and Z could have influence in that regard because he was a leader of the party anyway, of NCNC, although he had stopped being a member of the parliament in Ibadan. I hope I answered the question. All right, sir. Eshe. So let's.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. You're breaking. Networking. Your network is okay.
Okay.
I can't hear you clearly. You're going in and out. Not really. Okay, maybe we'll wait for him to come back. While he's sorting that out, let's have Ayo. If you tell why I can change location. Hello, Ayo Bami.
Hello, sir.
Evening, sir.
Evening. Good evening, sir. Yeah,
yes, sir.
Sorry, 1 minute. I want to find a very nice place. No, I want to say thank you so much, Professor Busie.
Thank you, sir.
I really always appreciate you. Every time I spend with you, every 6-7 hours I spend on your show, is not a waste, I encourage our people, please, guys, let's support this show because most of the time I want us to change the narrative for then, because this program have to go more like our younger generation need to engage with this platform. So I will try and beg everyone, please. It doesn't have to be much. If you can send a gift through the app, you can use the Nigerian account. Any amount. I always put something there as well. Any amount, So it doesn't have to be big. Put any amount there, because if Professor Busie see more fund, he will do more. Like maybe buy more something for this. So I will just beg every one of us. Let's try and encourage him to continue. So I want to say thank you so much, because now you don't know what you're doing. To me, there's big impact in me. So and then every time I spend with you, it's no waste of time. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. There's another one I want to say. Sometimes I like it when, I don't know. I just want to say I like it when you get angry. Like if somebody offend you, you just open book. Like imagine me having you as a friend. I do something wrong to you, you just open a book. And so it's so funny when you get angry. I love it more. So that I will just try and tell people, please engage and share this program and give, and so we should encourage him to do more. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for that. But let me quickly, thank you very much. We have the bank details up, so please let's use the bank details. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you for talking about that, because I mean it's necessary. Like people say, I don't talk about it a lot of time, but it's very, 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 very important. So please support what we do. Second thing, the book I usually bring out, to be honest, is because if I were to just say what's inside, it would be as it could be like I say they insult the person. So when I'm angry, things I wanted to say, like the mind can solve by my. Let me just read this so I can tell you exactly. And by the way, I'm also very careful of the things I even read self. But yes, that's the reason I usually just open book, so that it will not just be from my mouth. For instance, when I tell people that they are retarded, it's not usually me. It's usually somebody else who said it. So I'll just read what the person said, just to confirm the historical connections. But thank you very much for your support. And thank you for bringing that up as well. These things help the life a lot. So let's go to the date. It's 1 minute to 8 p.m. Ife time. So thank you very much for being here today. It's been a wonderful week. I've had fun. We've talked about different things. We've talked about state creation. We've talked about how was state creation. Then went to how was Zikon state creation. And towards the end, I think somehow we've been able to get to the point where we're probably just going to spend some time on Awo himself. Because I've done this before, but I think it's important to do it again, just to talk about him and how he rose and the things he did. And the beautiful thing is that there are loads and loads of materials on Awo that are here, so we can go from one to another. But we're just going to make sure that it's structured. So we're going to have a full session on education. We're going to have on health and the other things he did. We also want to look at the trajectory. How did he come to like education so much and dedicate himself to it? We're going to talk about his foray into politics, how he got involved in politics, his how he joined the NYM in the 1930s, and the things he did, what he did in school, Egbemo to do it again, and then how it morphed into action group, and all the things they accomplished and achieved. And this might take a while. If we have the time, we'll probably talk about what happened also, the Coker inquiry, the treasonable fellows in charge trial, his relationship with Chief SLA, Samuel Aduke Akintola, all those things. So I think it might even help us to just spend some time on this. And hopefully, I know it's not going to be a break, because at some point, there's no way I'm going to talk about this. We're also talking about people that lived around that same time. So if you like Zik, Alima Soko, or Leko Kongo, go back with that on him. So we'll be here on Monday at 1 p.m. Ife time, West African time. Let me thank everybody who came up to speak. Mr. Perizim, oh, we still have one more person who hasn't spoken. So let's listen to the person. Hello, Afolabi Richards. How are you, sir?
Good evening, sir.
Evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I really want to appreciate you for the work you are doing. And I want to pray that the Almighty God will bless you, will give you more wisdom, and they will give you patience to continually get this material out, because it takes a lot of patience to be able to do this. I thank God that I'm part of the Yoruba tribe.
Yoruba race, Yoruba nation.
Oh, sorry,
or Yoruba
sorry,
ethnic
Yoruba
group.
nation.
Nation
I'm
or
sorry.
ethnic group.
Yoruba nation. No, I'll take nation. Yeah, because yes, fine. We may not have the politicians that do the same things Awo did now, but at least he left a platform. I'm not canvassing for anybody, but at least I was born and bred in Lagos, and I remembered 1999 when Asiwaju came on board. I went to a Jakonde school, and if he trains literally, if it rains, there is no school. And when he said we're going to build those millennium classrooms, and he took the step, he built it, Babs Fafunwa, if you remember, with Joju Bega, and he started building those schools, and he made it a structure for Lagos State. And when he started Loma, when he started Lasma, everybody was like, these things will not work. When he reformed the Lagos State Secretariat, when he laid people up, when they brought in Oracle, when he brought in these brilliant people from abroad and said, come home, come and build Lagos State. And when he was doing all that, people was like, and if you talk about it now, people were like, what did he do? Is he not Fashola that did something? But I remember there was this very large poster, this large billboard that was at Ojodubega at the time. There was the picture of Gandhi. There was a picture of Awo. Then a picture of, you understand, because they had the same round glasses. And he was saying something like great minds, something. And everybody were like, who is he? He's a corrupt person, blah, 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 blah. Now, I used to tell people that in a very, very long time, I said the closest person, okay, he's not close by a mile, but at least the ones that wants to resemble, that he knows what he's doing, like, he's far from Awo, but the closest person to align with Awo is the present president we have. Because number one, he was the first to come on board with what he wanted to do. He knows you don't like him, and he does not need you to like him. He will not pander to you anyway. When he was in Lagos, he did what he could do. Now, people will say, yes, he enriches himself. Yes, well, that is what the politics of the day takes. But this is somebody that's literally raised men from the gutters, and he has made them superstars. He had made them governors of states. You understand? So we may not have the hours kind of, we may never have the hours kind of generosity and that. But we should not be blinded when we have something that looks like it. And we should not be too carried away to align ourselves with it. Because in the most recent times, this is the first person that has a plan, that is going for the plan, that is doing a lot to make sure that this thing is going to work. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much. And I agree with you 100%. And I know people will say, why are you comparing them? It's not about comparison. And I like what he said. How is just in his own, is in a place where you don't even compare. But in terms of, Atiren Ashaju, and I know that there's a lot of faults. You cannot, I mean, if that's what we want to do, we can do that, the whole day. But we can also count, the blessings and the similarities. Perhaps not exact, of course, not sameness, but the similarities. There is foresight, there is vision, and as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a blessing to have these people come out of this ethnic group, and we're proud. And I hope that these sessions that will start on Monday will also wake something up in us. And also, as we cut part of it and put it out there, even young people will see it and get interested, regardless of what you do, whether you're in politics, whether you're in tech, whether you're in business, whether you're in education, whatever it is that you're doing, you begin to think about it like, what if I was the one doing this? That's going to be the goal for the session we're about to start. What we did this week really was to get us to think about Yoruba being a nation regardless of sovereignty. Next week is, to see, just to find a way to mirror the thoughts or the personality of our things that we do, especially in governance and also in other spheres of life. So thank you very much for that submission. That was fantastic. We'll give 1 minute to Mr. Ayobami before we move on.
Thank you so much, sir. I just want to bring suggestions, sir, Prof. One, if I want you to think about it, if it's something that is okay with you, we want to suggest maybe we should give people like 1 hour to be engaging with you more. If it's okay with you, think about it.
We do that in the afternoon, though. Do you come here like early?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah. The second one is, I don't know, maybe if any way you can be bringing professional to
we've tried that. We tried that small. I'm not doing it again.
Okay.
We've tried it again. People just misused it. Unless, of course, maybe so the only time I think that would work is, let's say, for instance, I'm talking about finance, and then maybe a professional in that area, in that area, comes to talk about it, or we're talking about, let's say, we've interviewed kings here before. At least we've interviewed two kings. We interviewed Olota. We've interviewed Odmeko. We've had professionals come up. History. For the most part, I think people have different agenda, and it's just not my. I don't talk about it, and I don't want to even talk about what happened. So I just think, generally speaking, unless we're talking about a particular topic, but apart from that, I'm not bringing people up, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the people. I mean, professional, like people that we encourage people in business, you know.
So another thing also is that every platform has a goal. My goal is not to make it into, you know, oh, let's talk finance today, let's talk into tomorrow. No, because once you try and get into too many things, Konisi, I'm about waiting about us to so you focus on we focus on history, culture, politics, innovation. And once in a while, of course, maybe once a week or once a month, we could have somebody to do that, but it cannot be something daily, because I don't want some things that have happened in the past. I'm making sure it will never happen again, right? And most of those things happen because I just feel like everybody wants to grow, everybody wants to do things, and to discover that people also have their own agenda. So it's important to have its history, culture, politics, and innovation. Those four things, and news. You know, so, but yeah, if we, maybe once in a while, you know, we could just bring somebody up on a particular thing, but it's also important not to, you know, be everywhere. I hope you understand. But yeah, also for people talking, again, we've done these things in the past. We've had sessions where a lot of people just talk, and, you know, and then it becomes a platform for something I did not plan. That's why, if you notice, this account, I started it from zero. The account where I was talking to the kings and everything, that was the other account. That was the Redomi account, Redomi Realm. I had to now change the name. Start this one from. There's a reason I did that, and there's a reason we run it this way, just to make sure that we're trying to build something, and I think we're on the right track. But thank you very much for what you said, and from time to time, we can bring people up. Even yesterday, Remy was up here, and, you know, it was good to have him as well. You know, help to expatiate on certain ideas, and if you're looking for professionals, Remy's a professional, and it was good to have him around. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll take that on board in other matters. But thank you very much for that suggestion. All right, let me thank everybody who came up to speak. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for being here, and thank you for coming up. To those of us in the comment section, it's past 8. Thank you very much for tapping and typing and sharing and liking and commenting and engaging. Let me clap for you again. Thank you. Thank you. And on YouTube as well, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Thank you, guys. And thanks to the gifters. I noticed some hearts and some hearts and all kinds of gifts, roses and stuff. Thank you very much for your support and your generosity. And I saw somebody in the comment section earlier saying, I put something in the account. Thank you as well for your generosity. These things actually help the live. All right. Let me also announce that from next week, we'll be doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Primarily because I have to do some school runs, like for the boys, but also because I think, 2 weeks back to back, I'll not be around on Wednesday, and I think it might just be a very good opportunity to also restrict the event to program to 4 days, so that we can also have one extra day to do other things like study. Like what I just mentioned right now, I'm glad that I'm saying it on Friday, because now I have at least 1 or 2 days, 1 day actually, to be able to do some studying, and we've done it before, so all I need to do is just have bought since then, and then we'll be up to speed by Monday. We'll be able to fly. So Wednesday will be it will be an opportunity to have an extra day to be able to study. So From next week, we'll be doing Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. And I know 4 days are still quite good, but at the same time, 1 p.m. Ife time. So thanks for being here, and thanks for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for your submissions. Thank you for your presence. All right, I'm going to see everybody on Monday. So if you're here on YouTube and Facebook, we're going to have to let you go now because we're about to have our anthems, the Nigerian anthem and then the Yoruba anthem. Next week, we'll be spending a lot of time on Papa, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and I think I'm going to be teaching about him like I've never done before. I was reading, every time I read about him, there's something, so, and I felt that something when I was reading earlier, so I think we're going to have a fantastic number of sessions next week, all right? So thank you very much for being here. So YouTube, Facebook, I'll see you on Monday at 1. Well, after 1, after the music, all right? And then for those of us on TikTok, we're going to continue. So YouTube and Facebook, guys, have a great night. I'll see you. Have a wonderful weekend. See you on Monday. All right. Good night. So for those of us on TikTok, it is time to play our anthems.